My name is Hannah Lee, and if you'd crossed paths with me just a few years ago, you'd have seen a woman fading into the background, a shy librarian in Raleigh, North Carolina, stacking books in the quiet corners of the public library, my voice barely above a whisper. But let me take you back to that rainy afternoon in my childhood bedroom, where the air smelled of old paper and forgotten dreams. The day I flipped through my dusty poetry journal and realized my world had been stolen. There, in the lyrics of my brother Ethan's chart-topping hit song blasting from the radio, were my words, twisted, repackaged, but unmistakably mine. Words I'd poured my soul into as a teenager, words he'd dismissed as silly scribbles. That discovery cracked something open in me, a flood of betrayal that drowned out the years of family dismissal, igniting a fire that would transform me from the silenced sister to a voice that echoed across the nation. I grew up in a cozy suburban home in Raleigh, the kind with a wraparound porch where fireflies danced on summer nights, and the kitchen always smelled of Mom's homemade kimchi stew, a nod to our Korean heritage, blended with Southern comfort food. Our family was close-knit, or so I thought. Dad, a history professor at NC State with his shelves of dusty tomes and endless stories about the Civil War. Mom, a dedicated elementary school teacher who could turn any lesson into a game. And Ethan, my older brother by 3 years, the charismatic golden boy with a guitar slung over his shoulder and a smile that could charm anyone. Me, I was the quiet one, the bookworm who preferred the company of novels to crowds. From a young age, I found solace in words, scribbling poems in a leather-bound journal Dad gave me for my 12th birthday, verses about lost loves, family bonds, and the ache of feeling invisible. I'd sit under the oak tree in our backyard, pen flying, capturing the way the wind whispered through the leaves or the sting of overhearing Mom say, "Ethan's our performer." He'd tease me, ruffling my hair. "You're too sensitive, Hannah. Stick to your books. Leave the spotlight to me." Our parents laughed it off, always praising Ethan's school plays and garage band gigs while my straight A's and poetry awards got a pat on the back. "He's got that star quality," Mom would say, her eyes shining. I didn't mind at first. I loved Ethan, admired his confidence, even helped him write catchy lines for his songs when we were kids, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug. But as we grew older, the imbalance grew too. High school was where the cracks started showing. I dreamed of studying literature at UNC Chapel Hill, pouring hours into applications and essays, imagining myself in ivy-covered halls, dissecting novels with professors who saw my spark. To fund it, I worked part-time at the local bookstore, shelving paperbacks and charming elderly customers who loved my recommendations. Every paycheck went into a glass jar labeled college fund, hidden under my bed. Ethan, meanwhile, was chasing his music dream, gigging at coffee shops and recording demos in our basement with borrowed equipment. One day I noticed the jar lighter, $2,000 gone, nearly all my savings. When I confronted him, heart-pounding, he leaned against the kitchen counter, shrugging. "Borrowed it for studio time, sis. I'll pay it back when I hit it big." I was livid, voice shaking as I accused him of theft. Our parents, sitting at the dining table, sided with him. "Don't be jealous, Hannah. He's pursuing his passion." Dad added, "You'll find other ways to pay for school." Jealous? It stung like a slap. I begged them to make him return it, but Mom just hugged me, saying, "Family supports family." The money never came back, and my college plans shrank. I enrolled in Wake Tech Community College, commuting from home, biking through Raleigh's humid mornings to save gas. Ethan moved to Nashville with family support, a check from our parents' savings, meant for both of us, that they justified as his big break. I buried the hurt in my poetry, filling journal after journal with verses about stolen dreams, silent screams, and a sister fading into the margins. College was my quiet rebellion. I majored in English, throwing myself into literature, Jane Austen's wit, Toni Morrison's depth, while working at the campus library to cover tuition. I found purpose in small acts, organizing book drives for underprivileged kids, reading stories at the local shelter, watching their eyes light up at tales of dragons and heroes. It was fulfilling, a balm for the resentment simmering inside. At home, though, family dinners were a stage for Ethan's rising star. "Did you hear? Ethan's playing at a Nashville bar," Mom would gush, passing the mashed potatoes, while my community award for literacy programs got a quick, "That's nice, dear." Ethan visited sporadically, strumming his guitar on the porch, regaling us with tales of open mics and record label scouts. I'd smile, but inside resentment festered like a bruise. I tried to share my world, inviting them to a library reading event, but Dad waved it off. "We're swamped with Ethan's gigs, Hannah." The dismissal cut deeper each time, a reminder I was the invisible one. Then came Ethan's big break. A record deal with a major label, a single called Whispers in the Wind that climbed the country charts. I was at the library reshelving books when I heard it on the radio, a melody that stopped me cold. The lyrics hauntingly familiar, like a half-remembered dream. That night, alone in my attic bedroom, I dug out my old journal from a box under the eaves, dust motes dancing in the flashlight beam. There they were, my poems from age 17 about a lost love under a Carolina sky, rewritten into his ballad. Lines like "the wind carries my heart away" were verbatim, twisted into his twangy hit. "He stole my words," I whispered to the empty room, tears blurring the ink. My heart broke, not just for the theft, but for the years of being overlooked. I confronted the family at Thanksgiving, the table laden with turkey and Mom's kimchi, journal in hand. "This is plagiarism," I said, voice trembling as I showed the pages. Ethan laughed, leaning back in his chair. "Coincidence, Hannah. You're imagining things out of jealousy." Mom frowned. "Don't ruin his moment, dear." Dad added, "Poems aren't songs." Let it go. Ostracized, I left early, driving through Raleigh's quiet streets, rain blurring my windshield like my tears. The betrayal wasn't just Ethan's, it was the family's refusal to see me. The pain became a constant shadow. At work, I'd lose myself in stacks of books, recommending novels about empowerment to patrons, Little Women for a struggling teen, The Color Purple for a weary mother. But at night, in my small apartment overlooking the Oakwood Cemetery, I felt buried too. The irony wasn't lost on me. A librarian surrounded by stories, unable to tell her own. I'd journal, but even that felt tainted, Ethan's theft poisoning my safe space. Friends noticed my withdrawal. My best friend Mia, a fellow librarian, urged me to fight. "You're stronger than this, Hannah," she said over coffee at a downtown cafe, the clatter of cups grounding me. "But how do you fight a family that doesn't listen?" I tried to move on, throwing myself into work, leading after-school reading programs where kids' laughter briefly drowned out my hurt. One evening, a young girl at the library clutching a worn copy of Matilda asked me, "Can quiet people be heroes?" Her question hit like a spark. "Yes," I told her, voice catching. "They just need to find their story." That spark grew into a flame. A library patron, an elderly writer named Mrs. Ellis, noticed my faraway look as I handed her a book. "Words have power, child," she said, her voice like warm honey, handing me a blank notebook. "Use them to heal, not hide." Her words unlocked something. That night, under the glow of my desk lamp, I started writing. Not poetry, but a story. A fictional tale of a silenced sister whose brother steals her voice, weaving in our betrayal with twists of fiction. Characters who mirrored Mom's blind pride, Dad's quiet complicity, Ethan's charm masking greed. I wrote in secret, late nights after library shifts, pouring emotions onto the page. The hurt of dismissal, the shock of discovery, the fire of reclamation. I titled it Echoes of Theft and self-published it online under a pen name Elena Whisper to shield my identity. I marketed it quietly. Reddit forums, book blogs, local book clubs, expecting little. But readers connected. Reviews poured in. This book gave me courage. It's like she's telling my story. Sales snowballed. A publisher picked it up, offering a six-figure advance. By year 2, Echoes of Theft was a cultural phenomenon. Book clubs dissected it, podcasts debated its themes, a TV adaptation was greenlit. I kept it hidden, no interviews, no photos, savoring the secret success as Echoes became a beacon for the overlooked. Character-wise, I changed. The shy librarian evolved, organizing larger literacy programs, speaking at community events with a voice that no longer trembled. I joined a writers group, sharing snippets under my pen name, their feedback sharpening my craft. Mia noticed, "Hannah, you're glowing." "What's the secret?" I'd smile, guarding my triumph. I moved to a better apartment in downtown Raleigh, with a balcony overlooking the city lights, a space that felt like mine. Therapy helped too. Weekly sessions in a cozy office with a view of the Raleigh skyline where I unpack the betrayal, learning to forgive myself for staying silent so long. "Your voice matters," my therapist said, and I started believing it. I started a blog under Elena Whisper, sharing essays about finding strength in silence, connecting with readers worldwide. But the family? Oblivious. They'd call asking about my boring library job, Ethan boasting about his tours. At a cousin's wedding, Mom bragged about Ethan's Grammy nomination, while my literacy award was a footnote. "You're doing fine, Hannah," Dad said, patting my shoulder like I was still a child. I nodded, but inside I was plotting a reveal to shake their world. The opportunity came with Ethan's sold-out concert at Raleigh's Red Hat Amphitheater, a homecoming show hyped for months. He sent me a guest ticket, probably pity. "Come celebrate, sis," his text read, all charm. I accepted, heart racing with a plan. I'd been gathering evidence, digitized journal pages, old emails where Ethan asked to borrow my poems for inspiration, even statements from high school friends who'd read my work years ago. My publisher connected me with a lawyer friend, Sarah, who confirmed the plagiarism case was airtight. Copyright infringement, provable damages. I prepared meticulously, meeting Sarah at a quiet diner to review documents, her confidence bolstering mine. "You're not just taking him down," she said, sipping coffee. "You're giving voice to every silenced artist." I printed posters of my journal pages, hired a tech friend to sync them to the concert's screens, and practiced my speech in front of my mirror, voice growing stronger with each run-through. The concert night arrived, the arena pulsing with energy, fans screaming, lights flashing, the air electric with anticipation. Ethan took the stage, strumming whispers in the wind, his voice soaring over the crowd of thousands. I stood in the VIP section, clutching my journal, nerves buzzing, but resolve firm like the oak tree from our childhood. During intermission, he called me on stage for a family shout-out, his smile wide for the cameras, the crowd cheering. "My supportive sister, Hannah!" He beamed, arm around me like we were best friends. I stepped to the microphone, the spotlight hot on my face, thousands of eyes watching, the live stream broadcasting to millions. My heart pounded, but my voice was steady as stone. "Thank you, Ethan," I said, holding up my journal, its worn cover catching the light. "But let's talk about where your hit came from." I signaled my tech friend, and scans projected on massive screens behind us. Side-by-side comparisons of my poems and his lyrics, dates circled in red, undeniable. "He stole my words," I declared as gasps rippled through the arena. "These are my poems, written when I was 17, stolen to build his fame." Evidence flashed, emails where he admitted using my ideas, witness statements from friends who'd read my journal years ago, even a high school teacher's note praising my poetry. And I'm Elena Whisper, author of Echoes of Theft, the book that tells this story. The crowd erupted, some booing Ethan, others cheering me, a wave of voices rising. Phones lit up, the moment going viral in seconds. Ethan's face paled, his guitar slipping as he stammered, "This is a misunderstanding." But the screens told the truth, my words blazing for all to see. I walked off stage, head high, the roar of the crowd a symphony of vindication, my heart pounding with a satisfaction I'd never known. The fallout was swift and seismic. Ethan fled backstage, but the damage was done. Plagiarism scandals tanked his career, labels dropped him, fans turned, social media ablaze with hashtag Justice for Hannah. The next day, headlines screamed, "Country star exposed by sister's bestseller." My publisher called, book sales spiked, bookstores selling out overnight. I did one interview, anonymous via voice modulator, explaining my journey to protect other artists. Mom and Dad called, sobbing over the phone. "We didn't know, Hannah. We're so sorry." We met at their house, the same porch where I'd once felt invisible. Over tea under the glow of fairy lights, they apologized, admitting they'd favored Ethan's flash over my quiet strength. "We were blind," Dad said, his voice breaking. Mom hugged me, tears soaking my shoulder. "You're our star now." I forgave them. Not for their sake, but for mine, rebuilding bonds over honest talks and shared meals, kimchi stew tasting like home again. Ethan reached out months later, humbled, asking to meet at a quiet cafe near the library. He admitted his guilt. "I was desperate, Hannah. I thought you wouldn't care." His eyes were hollow, his charm gone. I didn't absolve him, but I wished him well, my heart lighter, no longer carrying his weight. My life transformed. Echoes of theft funded literacy programs across Raleigh, mobile libraries rolling through underserved neighborhoods, writing workshops for kids who felt unseen like I once did. I spoke at national conferences, no longer the shy librarian, but a voice for the silenced, my talks drawing crowds who'd read my book and felt its truth. The TV adaptation premiered, and I walked the red carpet in a simple green dress, my parents cheering from home on FaceTime, Mia throwing a watch party at her apartment, toasting my courage with cheap wine. I started a new novel, this one about forgiveness, written openly as Hannah Lee, no more hiding. I mentored young writers at the library, teaching them to protect their work, their voices. One girl, shy like I was, handed me her first poem. "You inspired me, Miss Hannah," she said. I hugged her, tears in my eyes, seeing my younger self in her spark. From the girl who whispered in shadows, I became a beacon, author tours, community initiatives, inspiring others to speak. The betrayal forged me, but I shaped the outcome, turning theft into triumph. And so my silenced voice roared, proving that words once stolen can be reclaimed to echo forever. If dismissal has muted you, let your truth sing. The satisfaction is a melody that lingers. As Audre Lorde once said, "Your silence will not protect you." In the face of theft, let your words rise. They hold the power to reclaim what was lost. Thank you from the deepest well of my heart for listening to my story of hurt, healing, and hard-won voice. If it resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more real tales that give strength to the silenced. Your support means everything. Together, we amplify the unheard. Until next time, find your words. They're waiting.